What's going on, guys? I am in my new snake room, snake space, I don't know, whatever you call it, facility. The decked out basement. You can't really fully see it because, I got it set up for the stage. I'm still working on, lighting, and I got some trim work to do and a little bit of electrical work to do. But it's the first night here, and the first night I've had my coat on in the room, and that's fitting. We have Bob Vu on tonight from Bob's Balls. You guys know him. You know why you're here tonight. Give me just a few minutes on some announcements, and we're going to hop right to it with Bob tonight. Thank you all very much for joining. There's 36 of you out of the gate. I appreciate that. I suspect that is the Bob effect more than the Adam effect, but we'll see, seriously, thank y'all for being here. And like I say, I'm finally in the new room. I don't know if you saw my post on Instagram, but I saw a post I don't know how long ago it was. Maybe it's 2 months, 3 months. Maybe I only saw it then. Maybe it's been up forever, but I saw a post of Bob's facility, nice white floor, looked like a really clean, like restaurant kitchen or, a safe medical facility. It just screams clean and healthy. And I was like, that's it. I'm going to tie in everything I've learned. I'm going to tie in my restaurant background. I'm bringing my sink in here and I'm going to do it right. And those of y'all that don't know, I recently moved from Florida to Minnesota. So I had this sort of blank canvas of a space that was a total dungeon when I moved in. It was a disaster when I moved in. So new ceiling, new walls, new epoxy floor, obviously brought in the racks and everything. So I'll do a legitimate tour kind of video on YouTube in the next week or so, but that'll be coming. On that video, I'll do everybody, which is kind of my thing too. I'm being, to be pretty transparent. Everybody wants to know what the cost associated with it is. So we'll break down the costs of what the out-of-pocket was on outfitting this room this way. And then we'll try and look at it too through the lens of, I've been accumulating these racks and equipment for 3 years too. So the immediate costs and then the cumulative costs, we'll look at some of that. This weekend, pretty cool. I get to jump into some local shows. I did a show in Davenport, Iowa, and I did a show, Tinley. You probably heard of it. I don't say that cocky. I say it like I need to explain what it is. I did Tinley last weekend, but this weekend I'm in St. Paul, Minnesota, just up the road here, and then over in La Crosse, Wisconsin. So St. Paul's like 35 minutes from me. La Crosse, Wisconsin is about 2 hours. So closer and closer to what is now my home market. So I'm excited to jump into those two new promoters. I've worked with Show Me Snakes before, but I've never done the show in St. Paul. And then Scaled Up Expos, I believe is the promoter in La Crosse. Scaled Up for sure. It might be Scaled Up Exotics, but I think it's Scaled Up Expos. I've heard good things about that La Crosse show. So one day each, Saturday, St. Paul, Sunday in La Crosse. I still can't get my head around these one-day shows, but that's what it is what there is to do. So I'm going to go do them. So come out. I want to meet you. If I haven't met you before, and if you want to buy something, that's cool too, but definitely come out. I want to meet you. And if there's something I can help you with, even better. Love to help you out. Next Sunday, so Sunday a week, I'll be doing a show in Hastings or Bloomington. I believe it's Hastings, Minnesota. Anyway, that's the Exotic Pet Fair show. That's Ed and Emily's show from Snake Discovery. So again, just trying to learn the local market, get people comfortable with my brand, and get out there in the local market. And I'll be doing that. So like 3 one-day shows in 8 days, I think, coming up. It's kind of a little bit crazy. I've got new hatchlings. They're taking food. They're getting their first meals. I got 4 more clutches still to go, and 1 I think that'll still lay. So maybe 5 more. So keep an eye out on the Morph Market. If you haven't emailed me, you can email me at properroyals@gmail.com, and I'll send you a monthly inventory list. You can check out what I have available. I post it there first before Morph Market. It does go to Patreon before that. Anyway, you can find all that information in the Linktree link down below. Check that out. Love to do some business or see how we can interact or just chat. Or you can, if you want to take the time to email me to tell me I suck, you could do that too. I don't know that I'll read it, but you can. That's up to you. Love notes are allowed too. I'll hang them on the fridge right here. I have some love notes up here. Bob Vu, you guys know who he is. You know why you're here tonight. Bob, you never know how you connect with people. Bob was really kind enough 3-4 weeks ago. He commented on one of my videos. I commented that I'd seen his feedback on a show, and then I clarified that like we didn't chat daily or we didn't know each other at that point. And Bob was nice enough to reach out to me and be like, well, now we're chatting. Like, okay, that's cool. And then in Chicago, of course I've been to Bob's tables and seen him in Daytona. So, I mean, we'd cross paths, but we hadn't really met. But we got to spend a little bit of time together in Tinley, and just a small snippet. You know, I was the new guy. I was out in the lobby. I was the one breeder by himself. Like, here's everybody in the show. Here's Adam in the lobby, like trying to get in. And Redline was kind enough to hook me up with that table, or set me up to buy that table. I did pay for the table. And Bob came by and said hey to me. And then he said, hey, the lobby's really cold because it had the doors propped open. It's hot inside the show. It's cold in the lobby. And he goes, you running any heat? And I said, no, I didn't. Everybody I talked to says Tinley's packed. It's hot as can be. I didn't bring any heat. And Bob was like, sit tight. Actually, come with me. Let's take care of this right now. And Bob went and got me some heat rope out of his own equipment. And without a thought said, here, take this. Wasn't a how will I get it back? When will I get it back? Where will it be? Just take this. We'll see you later, kind of thing. So it was a really cool, kind gesture. Really made me feel welcome and appreciated. I appreciated Bob for it. And he was already scheduled to be on the show prior to that. So it was really kind of cool. So sometimes the bigger people get, the less we think that they're down to earth, but in my experience, it's always been cool. So anyhow, without further ado, let's jump in tonight with Bob Vu. I've just now looked at his screen, and I'm glad I just looked at it now instead of 5 minutes ago. For the very first time ever, please welcome Bob Vu to the Proper Royal stage. What's going on, Bob?
What's up, guys?
You did not have that mustache. I have like a super power that I can grow a beard instantly, but you grew that mustache very, very quickly.
Yeah, after visiting Mexico for 3 days, it just grew.
How was are you a tequila man?
I am not. I'm actually allergic to tequila.
Wow. All alcohol or tequila?
All clear alcohols. I can't drink any clear alcohols, and I can have dark liquors, and I do fine.
Okay, cool. Well,
yep.
Interesting. Hey, we're getting a little bit of a squeak. You think you could? And that was my fault. We had some audio issues before we started that I created. Could you bring that mic volume down just a hair?
Okay, it's too loud. Let me go to audio. Sound. How about now? How about now?
I think so. I think it's good. Yeah, it sounds like, somebody said there sounds like a cricket in there. I think we're okay. I'm trying to see if it's on my end, but I don't think it's on my end.
I don't hear it at all.
Well, let's try it. We'll see what we'll see how it goes. So the content will still be solid. Okay. Larican says that you're good now. So that's cool. I don't think that we need to go through the introductions or learn about the first time that you picked up a garter snake as a kid or whatever. I think I think that's well been covered before. So, in the thumbnail and when we were chatting before, I love talking about big operations, understanding systems and processes, understanding how things get done. And I'd love to pick that apart. Can you set the stage for us? How big is your facility that you work out of? How many snakes are you working with? And I don't know, but I assume that you have employees and partners or other sets of hands. Can you give us a little bit of context on that to kick us off?
Yeah, we moved into this facility December of last year. So this is my newest facility. It is almost 6,000 square feet. Oh, no. You subtract the backside. So the full facility itself, where all the snakes are and stuff, is about 5,000 square feet.
Really?
It is underneath my house. It sounds way cooler if I just say, "Oh, I have a facility underneath my house," than
I,
me saying, "Oh, it's in my basement."
I do too.
Because
That's what I'm going to say. My facility is under my. That's my house is built on top of my facility.
I built my house on top of the facility. But it's about 5,000 square feet. We're working with roughly 1,000 animals, but that's counting babies and stuff too. So
Sure.
once hatching season's over, and we get rid of the inventory, then we drop down significantly. We run usually about 100 breeder males and then maybe a full 100 breeder females. And so this season's been going really good. It's been our best season yet.
Is that from animals produced or financial or both? That would go hand in hand.
It's for just as far as number of clutches, animals produced, stuff like that. I think everyone is in the realization of the amount of money just won't be there compared to the last 2 years. But you just have to produce better animals as it goes so that you can maintain the value of your projects. But overall, it's been a great year for us. We're hatching a lot. The shows have been actually really good for us. And total here, we have 3 full-time employees. I have 1 employee specifically that does all my breeder females. I have 1 employee that does all of our males and grow out females, so mid-size animals. And then I have 1 full-time employee, Robert, that does all of our rodents.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you produce all your rodents in-house as well?
We're almost there. We didn't, plan on all of this stuff happening with, the move and all of this ahead of time. So right now we're very close. We haven't had to order mice in about 2 months. So that's great. That cut out the mice costs. And I'm hoping within the next 2 to 3 months, we won't have to order rats anymore. So that would save me a ton of money. And then,
right.
I mean, because I was probably spending about $1,500 to $1,800 a week on rodents to feed the collection. So now with this, I can just pay 1 guy and guarantee all of my rodents are always covered. I don't have to constantly call people and try to get rodents in and stuff like that, and that's gonna help us out tremendously.
Yeah, is that a new part of your operation, or you had it before and then you're reestablishing it now?
We've had like a rodent breeding operation since I started in 2000 and I've been breeding rodents for a long time. I've been breeding rodents since 2007, but now we're getting to where we know what we need. We know the volume we need. And then we just started this new facility about earlier this year. We started this facility, and I think this one main facility will provide most of what we need. And then I have other sources local between Daniel, one of my Patreon members. He overproduces. I'll take some rodents from him. I have a buddy, Ethan, down the road if he overproduces. And then I have my main guy, Charlie, who's about 10 miles from here. And he's a rodent producer. And anytime I need extras, I can call him.
Gotcha. Somebody messaged in the chat that we lost. This says we lost both of you.
I feel like we haven't gotten lost.
I feel like we're kicking. Anybody in the? I would get some messages too. I think on.
Here. Oh, nope. Seems like everything's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it says we're good. Okay.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I see everything. Okay, cool. That's just that's just David having fun, I guess. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for letting me know. There was one night, Jeremy Bod, I don't know if you know him or not. Before the show started, he just started commenting randomly, "Hey, I can hear you. Hey, your mic is on. Watch your mouth." And it was total BS, but it was pretty fun.
I know Jeremy. He was at Jeremy. He was in Tinley too. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, there he is, right there commenting. Yeah. Maybe he lost himself. Who knows? Okay, so 1,000 total animals, 3 full-time employees, and 5,000 square feet. That's big. I'm trying to put that in perspective of a kind of a starter 3-bedroom home is usually around 1,500 to 1,800 square feet. So probably like 6 or 7 room single floor house. And are there separate rooms in your facility, or do you keep it all open air or open?
It's mostly open. When I first went to look at this house, let me see, we went to look at this house in 2022. It was last year. It was last year. We went to look at the house, and I'll be honest with you, he was asking for way too much money. I looked at it on the ad. I said, we can't afford it. There's not even a point looking at it. My buddy's like, let's go look at it just to see what we're looking for. And because I'm looking forward to build a new facility. I was going to build a standalone building versus the basement. I was looking at a few different options.
Yeah.
So when we went to look at this house, the basement was totally unfinished. He just left it wide open. And my builder came in, Steven, my buddy Steven Davis came in. He built my first building. And he was like, dude, we can gut this whole room and make it wide open if you wanted to. And I said, yeah, how would that look? And he goes, we'd have to put some beams down, some columns to, for the weight. But he says, we can do it. And so it's mostly wide open. I do have one closed room for my geckos because I keep 6 degrees cooler than my main room. And then the baby room is kind of separated to the other side of the building. It's like there's a middle hall where we wash out of the tubs that separates the adults and the babies. That's about it. There's not really many doors or anything like that separates into many rooms.
It's kind of nice. I found it kind of nice when could say, I could just start from scratch and kind of dictate a little bit. The one thing I couldn't do was get into the concrete and do the heated floors like I would like to in Minnesota. But otherwise, I was able to do it how I wanted. The mini split back there. Shop lights are going in. They're half in now, half out. That's why I don't have them turned on right now. But kind of the layout how I wanted, my sink where I wanted, the epoxy floor how I wanted. So it was kind of nice to have that sort of clean slate and the knowledge and a vision to come in with,
Right. Because the first building I did the epoxy floor. I did the white floor, the white walls, which I already figured out. I did not like my first room because we did an eggshell white. So now I did a semi-gloss. I knew that my wash station needed to have a backsplash. So for all the water, I knew that for that many employees to be cleaning at one time, I need multiple water reels in each section for them to work with. So we actually added 6 water reels this time in different areas instead of the 2 that I had in my last Nick room. Just small things that we've looked into since the last building. I just wanted to make sure it's comfortable and it's easy for everyone to get around. My big thing is efficiency. I don't want guys to have to, move around each other and get, and it just takes 4 or 5 days to do anything. I want each task for them to go through. And I don't want my guys here 40 hours a week. I'll be honest. I don't want to see them 40 hours a week. When they're here, I want them to just go in, get their stuff done. And if they can get it knocked out in 20, 25 hours, they're going to get paid the same thing. So I would prefer that they go home and spend time with their family or just go do whatever else. So we try to build it around efficiency and get these guys out of here, in and out. And if a task is easier to do, I'll notice when I first started with water bowls. I was washing water bowls. I had these heart-shaped glass water bowls. This got to be about 7-8 years ago, and they were just put into the tub. The problem with those glass water bowls is when they get dirty, you have to take them out, wash them. We had really high minerals count in our water, so we'll get the deposits. We'd have to scrub that out. But because it was such a pain in the butt task, I would only do it every other week or every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever. But now, by switching over to the plastic water bowls that are easily replaced, the cocoa that's easily replaced, the washing process is a lot faster with the sinks. You get a sink big enough where your CV70 fits right into there. It's easier to wash. So all these small things will help with efficiency. That way my guys don't have to stand down there for 40 hours a week just to get stuff done,
That's the mindset that I came from kitchens with, was how do you do the things, like you say, efficiently? If I have a chef on salary, like you say, I want him working 40 hours, not 55 or less, so he can go enjoy a beer, or she can go, get home to their families or whatever it might be. I noticed when you said earlier, you had your labor divided up to very specific sets of animals. Is that in that same mindset? So it's in one location and they're doing the same job over and over rather than starting different jobs in different locations?
Right. So the reason I assign each guy to their specific area, so there's only 2 guys in the snake room, plus me, is that so that they get familiar with the animals. So that if I go in and I say, hey, what's up with this DG clown or whatever? So it would be,
Oh yeah.
hey, it would be this guy. He'll know exactly what's wrong with her, or if she's developing or whatever, because he's been the one taking care of her all year. So that way there's no, oh, I thought you fed that animal. No, but I thought you fed. No, it's in your section. That's your animal. You take care of that animal. So it's all separated out. There's no confusion of who's supposed to take care of what. And because I've done it before where like, okay, we'll just all as a collective try to take care of this thing. And it didn't work out well because there's a lot of blame to go around in the snake room, and there's a lot of credit to be taken in the snake room. And this way, if it's spread out, we know exactly whose responsibility it is for every single section.
Got it. And they take care of the feeding, cleaning. What about, and I'm sure you make the pairing decisions, but what about the breeding seasons? How does that look?
So I do 100% of the ultrasound, pairing, and all of the breeding stuff. They are in charge of feeding, cleaning, removing the male. So I make the system pretty easy. On my days where I ultrasound, I go ahead and pair the males in when they're supposed to be paired. Each male has a tag that coordinates with their tub. So they don't even actually, all my guys are pretty good with the animals, but they actually don't even need to know the genetics of this male. All they got to do is this male is number 36. He goes back to tub number 36. You just take the male with a clip straight back to the rack. So that's also part of their job, is to remove these males and put them back. It's such a simple task, but it still takes 30 minutes a week to do. It's something you have to go remove these 80 or 70 males. Sometimes I'll be pairing and put them back.
Right.
But so that part they have to do. Feeding 100%, feeding and grading. I call it grading. Basically, you go in and check, make sure each animal ate or what didn't eat. And they need to keep track of that, because if an animal hasn't eaten in a month or 2 months or whatever, then they need to either switch it up to a different feeder, put it in a hide, move it to a smaller tub, or if it comes to an issue and where an animal is getting skinny, then they need to let me know that so I can see what I need to do.
Right. And so what's your, like, just you, not the operation, just you, what's your daily routine or your workday routine? Like, it sounds like there's sort of the CEO model where you're checking on the managers of each station.
Yeah. So I have 4 racks that I assign myself.
Okay.
I can do those 4 racks in a few hours a week. I feed, clean. Those are the specific holdback animals that we have decided to hold back. So it's, let me see, it's about 250 animals total. So I take care of those animals myself, feed, clean. And then on Wednesdays, I ultrasound and pair, Tuesdays, actually, Tuesday and Wednesday, depending on the show week or not. I'll ultrasound and pair everything. And then I spend a whole day doing morph market ads or any other sales related things. And then usually Friday, we just take the day off. Most of the time, most of my guys are not here on Friday. Nobody really works Fridays here.
Yeah. And the same on the weekends. You guys take the weekends off?
Yeah, I don't. I try not to have my guys work on the weekends, because every month, about once a month, we have a show, and I have a sign up sheet on Google Docs, and anyone that wants to vend the show can sign up on the Google Docs, and as long as so that they can basically schedule around each other. Okay, there's not enough people for this show, or there's only 2 of us going to this show, then someone else needs to volunteer. So they can kind of work around that schedule. They know ahead of time. They know 8 months ahead of time what shows we're going to be vending, so they can sign up for the shows. That's why I don't like having them work on weekends, so that they can volunteer for the shows every other month or every 3 months or something like that.
Yeah. And I'm sure, like, I don't know you real well, but I even know you well enough. I know you have a good time at the shows. There's probably some built-in perks for the people that sign up and come along on the shows. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, they choose the show.
I see that smile. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we have a good time. Me and Josh and the guys, we have a good time. And the shows, in my opinion, are so much fun. I enjoy being there. I enjoy the crowds. I enjoy meeting new people and customers I've met on or we've talked online. But certain shows, guys, is really like Atlanta. Everyone shows up for the Atlanta show. It's local. It's fun. Houston, surprisingly, is probably the crowd favorite for my guys, because it's the best food. And the crowd is amazing. I mean, you're getting 20,000 people through the door, and you have there's a strip in Houston where everything is Chinese or Vietnamese or Korean.
Oh
Even the
yeah.
street signs are in Chinese. So we have really good food when we go there. Honestly, and we have so much fun at the shows. Arlington, Tinley, we'll go out after the show, we'll go drinking and stuff like that. And it's honestly just a good time.
Yeah, like I said, it's always apparent that you're having a good time, especially like at Daytona. You're usually one of the guest auctioneers, and there's usually a fair amount of shenanigans involved in those presentations, and probably even more shenanigans I don't know about. Right?
Yeah, Tinley, Arlington, St. Louis, Schaumburg, and Daytona are the ones with the bigger auctions. And we always get a nice table so we can all sit down and drink and have a good time. Did you attend the Tinley auction?
Yeah, I was there. I was at I was at Robin's table, and it's cool because, well, first, Robin's an amazing host, and he's done great things. And guys, look at the banner. We're not going to take too much time on the advertisements tonight, but you guys see the logos and the banners there. But Robin's been fantastic. But yeah, it was kind of neat to have the table. I've never had the table at an auction before, and it's sort of a I didn't realize it. Like, I sat down, and then other people came to sit down, and it was like, oh, no, these are reserved. I was like, oh, I got a reserve. I didn't even know that. So
yeah. So the first few years I attended Tinley, and I'm watching those tables, right? This is 8-9 years ago. And I'm like, man, how much does it cost to get one of those tables? These guys are just up there, and they're buying up all kinds of stuff. And I was like, one of these days I'm gonna get that table. And I've been very fortunate that USARK really likes me. I do a lot of stuff for them. And I'm actually not a sponsor for the show. And somehow they managed to save me a table every show. So it's been pretty cool.
I was going to say, I don't even know if those tables have a price. Like, are they a price, or are they who, Bob and Brian just go, hey, this is your thing.
Bob and Brian actually aren't in charge of that. It's actually USARK that's in charge of table placements and assignment. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's one of those things above my head. I have no idea if that seat that I had a cost, or if that was just a hey, you're either in or you're out. I don't know. I was on.
I think there was like 12 or more tables in Tinley. Each table has about 10 seats.
Right.
They basically just kind of go through and they say, okay, these guys are probably going to spend money at the auction, so we'll save them a table. You notice Reptile Chip gets a table because JT spends a lot of money at the auctions. He's one of the biggest USARK supporters. Timberline, the Bells, Sea Serpents. So basically, your bigger spenders are going to get their own tables.
And you know what? That's completely fair too. In the context of a charity auction, and those of y'all that haven't been to one of these USARK auctions, like, Bob, back me up here. I mean, items going for $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 that really don't have that intrinsic value. It's truly a charity move. Yeah, give those people the tables. I hope I can sling that kind of cash one day, but I can't sling that right now.
Yeah, because everyone's there. Everyone that's truly there to donate money. We're basically just picking out a few items we kind of like. I buy always, if it's the dumbest item, I'll buy it. And then it's always the animals. I feel like, in my opinion, animals don't ever go for any true money.
Right.
It could be a $2,000 animal is going to go for $700. That's why I never donate animals. If they ask me to donate, I just tell them, hey, save me a table, and I'll probably just buy something stupid.
I'll take care of you. Yeah.
Yeah. And my table, I think, was me, Josh, everyone knows Josh, Jackie, and Darian. So we always buy everything. So
yeah, and you guys, I can attest to it. You guys spent a whole lot of money that night. You spent a good portion of what I hope to make this whole year on snakes. So Wages gets it. You can be an official sponsor, or you can be the guy putting gas in the engine. Either way works just fine.
Either way you're dumping money in, right?
That's right. Yeah, you're putting money into the cause. So that's a fair point. Forget whether the tables cost money or not. I still have no idea if they do or not. But you're right. In a charity setting, that's the card that you're looking for there. So hey, talk to me about sales, packaging, shipping, distribution. I'm sure you have a lot of snakes moving out on a daily constant basis, or maybe not daily, but operationally daily? How does that system look? How do you ensure accuracy on all that and customer communications?
So I've had one mishap in the last few years where I shipped the wrong animal. I got a negative review on Morph Market, so that one hurts. That was my first negative review out of like 400, 500 reviews. But
I'm sorry to
anytime,
sidetrack it. I'm sorry to sidetrack real quick. Like, you seem like a guy that would go overboard to make something right. I'm assuming you did. You don't have to get into it. They still left you a negative review?
Yeah, so she actually messaged me instantly when she opened the box, and she said, "Hey, this is not the animal I ordered." And I said, "Hey, that's my mistake. I shipped the animal literally one tub over from your animal. It's a clutch mate, but it had one
Yeah.
extra gene, so it looks a little different." So I told her, I said, "Hey, it's still the same genetics. It's one extra gene." And I said, "But what we can do is if you ship me that animal back, I'll ship you a new one." And she said, "No, this animal won't survive 2 days worth of shipping. I'm not willing to ship it back." And I said, "That's fine if you feel that way. I know the animals. I know if you ship it back, it'll be fine."
Right.
And I told her I'll email her the label. Literally, all she got to do is package it back up, slap the label on, and I'll ship the new animal. And she said she wasn't willing to do that. And I said, "I tell you what, why don't you just send me your what you want from my Morph Market, and I'll send you a new animal, and we'll work that out." She says, "No, you already sent me one bad animal," which again, it's just different animal. And I said, "I tell you what," I said, "Do you like that animal?" She's like, "It's okay. It's about the same as what I ordered." I said, "I tell you what, just keep the animal, and I'll just give you a full refund for the whole purchase." So I sent her back the whole full amount, which was $400. So I
Sure.
sent her back the full amount. I lost the animal and the shipping cost. Sent her back the full amount, and she was like, "Okay, awesome. I'll just keep this one, and and it's good." And then she left me a negative review.
Ah.
Yeah.
Geez. Okay. Well, I don't want to single anybody out, and I certainly don't want to go head hunting. But look, we're all humans. There should be a grace period for somebody making right, and you've earned a. It's not like you went into that transaction with a horrible reputation, Bob. Like,
Right. It was. I can see it from both sides, and after a while, I'm like, well, I gave her the animal for free. That's like me going to a restaurant, and let's say my steak was well done, and I ordered a medium, and they gave me a new steak and comped me the meal, and I said, "Okay, negative review for you guys."
Right.
And trust me, I've ordered a lot of steaks that have come in well done when I order medium, and it's not the server's fault by any means. So I
Right.
just eat my steak and whatever. But yeah, it's again. I talked to Darian about it. He goes, "You do realize this doesn't actually even show up in your 5-star review, because even if you average it out, you're still at 4.999. So you're
Yeah.
still
The
at 5
mathematics.
stars.
Yeah.
So mathematically, it doesn't change anything, but it changes in here, But
Yeah. That's frustrating. Hey, look, running restaurants, I get it, man. I lived in the land of reviews. It was hell. I hated it. But yeah, I think there's a bunch of us hoping we hit the Bob lottery and you send us the wrong snake. You're going to get an influx of orders just for people playing the odds. It's
yeah. But
it's about
no,
time.
but as far as how the logistic goes around here is, if you email me and you say, "Hey, I want to buy this animal," I mark it and I move it to a separate rack. I have a rack that literally is just for all sold animals that are outgoing. We have our export animals. We have a section for export, so all the export animals that are waiting for CITES will go into there. Any animals that are needing payment plan will go into there. I just do that so that I don't double sell an animal. I've done that before in the past, 4 or 5 years ago, where I don't mark an animal and then I sell it twice. So that's just good practice to just kind of move an animal to a different area if you have a different rack, so that you can avoid that process. So we do that. We've been very lucky with Redline being very good with us and giving us all the support we need. Robin scheduled my FedEx pickup every single week for Tuesdays. So I don't even have to go in and schedule it or anything like that. Literally Tuesdays, I print labels, slap them on, throw them out on the front porch, and FedEx comes and picks it up. I live in a gated community, or a gated area. So it's not like anyone's going to come steal my packages. So
yeah. A ballpark. How many snakes do you average a week, or
we ship out about 15-ish. I'll probably average about 15 animals a week shipping
That's
out.
cool. That's cool.
That's without like, anyone buying large groups, or every now and then someone will call and buy, offer on a wholesale package, or my exports. My exports are my biggest ones, where the export cost is so high for them to do CITES and paperwork. They usually buy 20, 30 animals. So then I'll ship, those big boxes with 30 animals.
Yeah.
But as far as single sales go from Wharf Market or anything like that, it's about 15 animals a week.
Gotcha. Hey, I got to say thanks, Bob. We hit a milestone here on Proper Rules. First time we ever cracked 100 viewers in one
Oh,
episode.
sweet.
There's 100 people out there, man. Thank you, audience.
100 people on a Tuesday at 8 o'clock. What do you get? People, guys don't have work or something in the morning?
Hey, look, like that's why I like. I chose this time slot coming, 2.5 years ago now, and I'm thankful to still be doing this. But I was like, yeah, nothing's going on Tuesday. I can, build up to a business rather than just trying to make this massive splash. But guys, yeah, if you haven't been before, I hope you'll consider subscribing and coming back. And if you're enjoying it, yeah, the like buttons do help. And I said it earlier, but please check out the sponsors and their logos. Their contact is all down below in the description. They do make these shows possible. Literally, I can dedicate the time each week to doing this rather than working or, other things that I would have to do to make money. So anyhow, I appreciate it, everybody. Thanks. We'll keep it going. Talk us through, and not getting too far off the path of it. What does it cost? Like, I get the feeling CITES is one of those things. It's going to cost you X amount, whether you ship one snake or you ship one plus, another number up to a certain level. What's that entry fee, so to speak, to get into the export game on an export? What does it cost you to get a snake out of the country?
It doesn't cost me anything.
Right, okay.
All right, it doesn't cost me anything in any ways. The only cost I have is to ship the animals to my exporter. I ship everything exclusively through, not I say exclusively, every now and then I'll have a one-off, but most of my exports go through Michael Cole from Ballroom South. I want to say his business name. Most of it goes through Michael Cole. And the way you can do that is by contacting Michael and getting on his export master CITES list. Is fairly rigorous process. I want to say not really. If Michael likes you, he'll put in an application for you to be on his master's CITES. And if he puts you on there, then you have to send in information about your facility. You have to have your license, your business license, your breeder's license, pictures of your facility, pictures of your incubator, basically your whole setup, so that they can approve it. Then they will give you a number of animals that they approve. So for me, there's X amount of animals I can ship throughout the year. And then once I hit that number, I can't export anymore. So building that relationship is pretty important. In my opinion, the most important part of this overall industry for me has been the relationship building. I have very good relationships with guys like Michael Cole, guys like Robin from Redline, so just building these relationships over the years with these people. I've shipped through Michael for years, and my first few was kind of rocky. I didn't know how to get my export paperwork done correctly, and he was kind of walking me through it. And he's been very, very helpful for these years. But he charges a percentage based on what animals you sell. So there's not really a flat fee.
Okay.
But for the importers, if they're buying 2 animals, he's probably not exporting to them. They're gonna have to buy a pretty big package so that the box fee and all that is worth it.
I see. So he's a clearinghouse for CITES rather than you having to go through all that headache.
Right. And you can apply for your own master CITES. It's you have inspections, you have all this paperwork to do. I don't have the know-how nor the time for it. And he has done such an amazing job by me just shipping him the animals and him handling all the paperwork, and he's never had an issue getting an animal to my customers. I haven't had any animals die during shipment. I haven't had animals get sick during shipment. Literally once the animals reach him, they're pretty much going to get to their customer.
Yeah. I have a little bit of experience. I've shipped some, believe it or not, guitars fall under CITES as well because of the rosewood and ebony fretboards used to build them, and the Brazilian rosewood and specific. So shipping even to Canada was a nightmare. I had to get a CITES certificate for a guitar, so I had to go get the guitar inspected, the species of the rosewood. It's kind of crazy actually when you think about it, but it's probably I think it's more fitting for animals than rosewood, but who knows? That's just
I mean, they're having to do CITES for sheds, for the Canadians or the Europeans, if they want to get shed tests in the
really.
US, through RGI, they have to get CITES just to get those shed pieces
I
into the
didn't
US.
know that. Wow. Almost makes you think bad ideas of how you're gonna, run sheds across the border, like
Yeah, I mean, so originally I had a buddy where he was like, "Hey," I was like, "Why don't you just shed test the whole clutch? It would help you, ID everything and tremendously." He goes, "We can't. It would take us all this time to get CITES and all this stuff done." I'm like, "Oh my goodness!" By the time they get the sheds over here and test it, it'll be 6 months.
wow. Is there, this is going way off track, but is there any shed testing in Canada available then?
I believe there's a guy doing the where he has some of the sequences, and there's a guy in Europe doing it too. They just don't have as many tests as we do. They don't have all the sequencing yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I got to say thanks to Will and Audra at Flawless Exotic Creations. Thank you very much for the $10. Very kind of you. That'll pay for some outlets and some trim work down on the baseboards that still have to go in the room. Thank you very much. Hey, and to all you guys saying that you had so little views when you were on and you were the guests, you're the guys that got me here. You're the ones that believed in me so that I could get to this point. So stats are one thing, but I don't forget that stuff either. So to Bob's point about relationships, the relationships have been amazing and they've been everything for me. It's how I ended up in Tinley. It's how I ended up vending in Tinley. It's how I ended up in the main room the second day in Tinley. It's just fantastic. So build those relationships, guys. You said earlier, you mentioned briefly geckos. Are you? And I should be more familiar. I'm sorry, I'm not. What species other than ball pythons do you work with?
I breed crested geckos just like everybody else. I've been breeding crested geckos for like 7 years, but it's just a little side project. I have lychees, milk snakes, rainbow boas, garter snakes, knobtail geckos, some turtles, just some random stuff I see that I like. I just get into random projects. I had boas. I had Central American boas. I just couldn't get them to breed, so I gave them to my buddy Eric Seto. I gave him the whole colony. I gave him the racks, colonies, and everything. And he managed to get seven litters of them this year and did amazing with them.
Wow. And so all those other species, are those like sort of pets and pet projects, or do you sell those? Are you trying to make an inroad in that part of the industry on those species?
I've worked with Tristan from Gecko Junkie. Me and him have been partners on some stuff for I've been working with Tristan for almost 7 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I've been with Gecko Junkie for about 7 years. I remember meeting Tristan when he had one table. There was a one table. He had one of those trifold, like one of those pamphlet poster things that he had.
Yeah, like the middle school projects. Yeah.
Yeah, he had one of those, some geckos in tubs, but he was so enthusiastic about it, so energetic going in, and he still is, which is amazing. I talked to him a little bit, and then we from then when I had one table and he had one table till now, where we both with our huge setups, is truly amazing. But all of my geckos I produce, sometimes I'll just call him and be like, "Hey man, I got 30 crested geckos," and he said, well, "I'll take it." So I'll just give him 30 geckos and I'll get a year's supply worth of gecko food or something like that.
Right.
Something random like that.
I got you. Yeah, he's a grinder, man. I see Gecko Junkie at all the shows, man. And when I'm here in the Midwest. I haven't been to too many shows yet, but down in Florida, I would see them at every, always at the shows. And they were up at Tinley too, right?
Yeah, he does all the NARBCs, all the Repticons. Repticons where I met him, actually. We used to vend a few shows together. He does the Reptilian Nation shows. I mean, that dude grinds. He does.
Yeah.
over 50 shows a year because he has 2 teams, so he's able to. I mean, he does so many shows.
I gotcha. I gotcha. There is a woman that works, I guess, for him, with him. She is everywhere, man. Blonde, straight hair. She was just in Tinley as well. I see her in Kissimmee show or outside of Orlando, and the next I see her outside of Chicago.
Yeah.
But yeah, they work hard. They're grinders out there for sure, man. So speaking of, I know you've talked some before about it, but I wanted to pick it apart just a little bit. I know you said at one point you were doing, as many shows as you possibly could. And obviously with scale and exposure, you probably have less of a need to do that. But now I think you said you do about 12 shows a year. Where did that needle change? What was the mindset change? What changed? What, maybe the finances changed? What changed that outlook for you?
When I first went full time, I went full time in 2016 is when I went in, told my boss I quit. I was doing finance, and a lot of people, I don't know, I've heard a lot of rumors actually about me, about how we got all of this going.
Right.
Like either my parents infused a bunch of money into my business or something like that. But no, I was doing finance with insurance company. Oh, did we freeze? No, we're good. I was doing finance with New York Life. And again, it wasn't like I was terrible at it. It's not the reason I went to do snakes. I was making $100,000 a year. And I was on track to open my own office. And I just did not enjoy the corporate world. I was in charge of firing a lot of people, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Cause I go in and tell them, hey, your numbers look like crap, so you're out, type deal. And I hated that part. But I went in 2006 and quit my job and told my wife, or my now wife, that I'm going to do snakes for a living. And she was super supportive. She says, hey, we don't have a ton of bills. Let's just try this thing. And if anything, you can go back to doing finance. So in 2016, I looked through the Repticon schedule. My buddy Phil McCormick at the time, PM Reptiles, he owns a pet store now in Tampa area, PM Reptiles.
Oh, okay.
And so I was traveling around the country doing the southeast US, doing shows with him. I did a show almost every single weekend. I did 40 shows a week, a month. Jesus Christ, 40 shows a year.
Right.
So 3 shows a month. I basically get 1 weekend off. I was doing Orlando, Tampa, all the Carolinas, Tennessee. Within 7 hours, I was going to it.
Right.
And the good thing about that is Repticon had a show every weekend somewhere else. So I can just bounce, around shows. And the reason for that was that I wanted people to, when they go to the show, they're like, oh, I wonder if Bob's going to be there, because he was there last time. He's at every show. And I want them to recognize the logo. I want them to recognize my face. I want them to recognize the setup and everything. So I did 40 shows a year for 2 years. And 2019 hit. The market was starting to soften up a little bit, but our average sale per show was so good. I actually started backing off the shows a little bit so that we can help prepare a larger setup for these shows. And as soon as COVID hit in 2020, the very first show shutdown was Tinley. It was March Tinley. It was the very first show they got.
Yeah, it's always St. Patty's weekend. And I'm a professional musician, and that's when I knew it got real. Like, I play Irish music, and they canceled my Patty's Day tour that year. It's exactly when it got super real.
Yeah, so that was the first big shutdown, right? So I was actually I already had that was my first show I was going to bend in Tinley. And I had my truck set up. I had everything packed. Steve from Steve Morse was actually driving to my house, and we were going to ride up to the show together. And 30 minutes before he got to my house, he called and said, hey, they canceled the show. And so he booked it and turned back around and went home. I went straight to the show. And we had one of the best times we've ever had at a show, I'll be honest. Me, Chad Hoker, Winston, Brock, all those guys, they set up displays in their rooms at the hotels. And you would leave your business card on your door. And if your business card is on your door, you're open for business. People would knock on your door, and you'd go in, you'd look at a few displays, say thank you, go to the next guy with a card on the door, and you'd say, hey, what's available. And literally we were just going door to door at the hotel, and we had a great time at that show.
I love the stories of innovations where you just you can either choose to get kicked in the teeth, or you could figure out a fun way to either make the best or make something better of it. That's great.
Yeah, we had a good time. But so after the COVID thing, we were kind of wondering what was going to happen. So I backed it down to one show a month because of COVID. And because certain states were shut down and stuff like that. So we backed it down to about one show a month, and we really enjoyed it. I'm like, holy crap, I can just go to one show a month, make twice or three times more money than I did before doing 2-3 shows. So we backed it off to that. And honestly, we just stuck with that model ever since. And right now, currently, we're doing all the NARBCs, all the reptilian nations that are within 12-hour drive. So I can expand my radius. I can go 12 hours now because I'm only doing one show a month.
Right.
I can drive all the way to Houston and do a show and come back and get the animals back hydrated and fed and all that before the next show next month. But for those of you that are starting out, I would suggest you do as many of the local shows as you possibly can, within reason.
I was going to ask,
build that reputation,
Yeah. I was going to ask if you had to do it over again, is that what you would recommend? But yeah, that sounds like it is.
I think someone asked earlier if I have any partners in this. I do have a partner in the Patreon, being Josh Jackie, from Ball Python Shed. We are partners with our Patreon. We do a few breeding projects together. I have some of his animals here breeding. He has some of my animals over there breeding. It's just a really good relationship between me and Josh. We just want the best for each other. And we vend together. We've been great vending partners for the last 3 years. I started vending with him the first Arlington show. First Arlington I vended was with him. He booked our tables for us. I've been most of our shows with him. There's few shows in Florida that he doesn't want to travel to, and he travels to California, which I do not have any desire to drive to.
Right.
And we do our Patreon together. We go on a Patreon call every 2-3 weeks together with the Patreon. And actually, a lot of our members that are watching right now are my Patreon people.
So shout out to you guys. Them. Yeah, definitely. Thanks for tipping the scales, guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, and a lot of times with the business partnership type deal, I've had breeder loans go bad. I've had people just not be happy with how things turn out. I've had people send me females or males to breed, and we had either bad odds or female absorb anything. So I really just stopped doing that altogether. It's very rare that it works out perfect. I actually had a very good breeder loan this year with Astro Pythons. I managed to get him a stranger DG clown out of the pairing. My dude from Golden Boy Reptiles from Texas, I got him a Black Pastel Spot Nose DG clown from our partnership. So every now and then it works out good if you both go in with minimal expectations. Don't go in thinking, okay, we're both going to make $1 million off of this and, have all these things, but go in with minimal expectations and just hope for the best. And be willing to, okay, if things go wrong, what can we do? And so with Josh, especially, we've had clutches together where we bombed. I think one of the males that we went 50-50 on, one of the clutches, literally, we just hit a bunch of hets and normals, and it happens. I have to tell Josh that stuff happens. He was so devastated. He was like, man, I really wish I can get you this type of animal out of this clutch. I'm like, Josh, it happens. We'll try it again on the next clutch. It's just animals. Nothing to ruin a relationship over. And I'll tell you this, I will never ruin a relationship with anybody over ball pythons. Like, they're, again, I know we love them, but they're just animals. It's nothing to ruin any type of relationship over.
Yeah, I think you got to be, with so many variables, the expectations have to be really loose. Like Shannon and I have that's the last partnership I have this year. Everybody says, well, what's your guys' deal? And I was like, well, actually, we don't even really have a deal. We're going to see what comes out, and it's going to have to sort out because, like you say, you just don't know what's going to come with it. And if you get too rigid on that stuff, and variables will come. I didn't know I was going to move to Minnesota. I had to call him in the middle of it and go, hey, I got your female in my rack. Do you want me to take her to Minnesota, or you own her? I'll trust you with the eggs if that's what we need to do. And he said, yeah, I would rather her be here. I said, okay, well, we need to roll with that. That's what we got to do, So I agree with that. Bob, if I could take 2 seconds, because the sponsors do pay, and I want to make sure that they get the big audience tonight that you have brought to the table. Audience, also, I got one more topic to cover with Bob, and then we got a little time for some questions. So we might not answer them like the second you type them, but I'm pretty good at taking notes, and we'll get to your questions if you want to start banging those out. In the meantime, check out Chris at B&S Reptilia. He's out in Pennsylvania, specializes definitely in ball pythons, but also all different species that you can imagine. He tries to pick up at least one new species to breed a year. I just vended with him at Tinley. He brought northern pine snakes. He did not bring bulls. Turns out bulls, you can't have bull snakes in Chicago at a Tinley show. So he did not bring those, but he has those if you want to explore those. He's also got locality boas, blood pythons, and he's just a great resource of knowledge. And he is the Pennsylvania distributor of the Chipper, if you want to go check him out. That's Chris at B&S Reptilia. Creative Genetics, that's Keith out in California. He is breeding stranger combos, and he's breeding them to both visual and het pairings. So I know he just had another clutch of stranger combos hatched. They are all possible triple hets. I believe the triple hets on those are clown, pied, and a xanthic. So check out Keith out at Creative Genetics if you're looking for any cool stranger combo opportunities. As always, Redline and Cold Blooded Cafe keep this machine going. Use the promo code PROPER5 at Redline. They're going to save you $5 on your next shipping label. But honestly, I think I don't want to put words in Bob's mouth, but you heard that Bob uses Redline as well. There's a reason. Their experience is great, their customer service is great, and their prices at the end of the day are fantastic, with or without the promo code. But use it. Get yourself that $5 extra. Cold Blooded Cafe, they're going to give you 10% off of your frozen rodent order if you use the promo code PROPER10. 10%, that's a pretty good jack off of an order of frozen rats, or they got a variety of feeders. You go check them out. I feed almost all of my collection on frozen thawed, just so that as a customer service to future buyers that they're already on frozen thawed when they get them, if they prefer that. So they've all taken really good care of me. I hope that you'll give them a look. Their contacts are down below in the description. Thank you so much to the sponsors. I appreciate it. Thank you all in the audience for being here. I just got to cut a promo for 100 people. That's the first time I've ever been able to do that. So thank you all very much. Thanks to Bob Vu for hanging out tonight. You might not have recognized him in his Mario mustache there, but that's him under the Luigi look there. Bob, what everybody's always excited about, especially with you and what you're, the stuff that you've produced. What are you working on this year? What are you excited for in 2024? What do you think that maybe you'll see that either the world hasn't seen or that you want to go after? What do you got going on?
I personally am a huge fan of Axanthic stuff. So we're leaning a lot of our projects that way. I'm breeding DG Axanthic pretty much to everything because I feel like DG Pie, DG Clown, DG Hypo, or even tri-stripe. Again, I made the first few DG tri-stripes, stuff like that. And I see limitations in all of those genes. Clowns, how many more genes can you stack to clowns? How many more can you stack to pies before it becomes a white snake? Stuff like that. And I feel like DG Axanthic preserves every single piece of pattern on that snake and prevents it from changing color as it ages, and keeps a lot of that crisp, clean pattern. You can add a bunch more genes to it, and it won't affect it too much. And whenever you have a new gene, let's say stranger, beautiful base gene, just a beautiful base gene stranger, you can add DG Axanthic to it and enhance it and look about the same but way cleaner. Mm-hmm. Stranger, when added to pied, now it's 90% white or whatever. Add it to clown, it is a totally different animal. So I think Axanthic DG probably has the longest run. There's a reason why an Axanthic DG animal on Morph Market is $10,000 and a DG clown is $5,000. DG Pied is $5,000. DG Hypo is $3,000. But DG Axanthic is still holding the highest value, is because it wasn't heavily worked, and I think it has the highest potential. Now,
do we just see the first ones this season? I think this was the first Daytona that I saw DG Axanthics at.
I've had DG Axanthics for 2 years.
Okay.
I didn't show them off a bunch because I was hoarding them. I have how many do I have? 15 DG Axanthics.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, we're hoarding as much as we can. I just produced 3 more this week. So I think that's where I'm gonna lean towards. And what I've been so lucky is every night I'll go through Morph Market and I will look through Axanthics and I'll look up adult Axanthic females, anything over 700 grams. And I'll find any new gene that I don't have. And I've been lucky. I picked up 3 females already. I picked up a Bongo combo, Red Stripe combo, and a Mojave Fire Axanthic female with some size, because I want to add these new genes. If you're looking at it, DG Axanthics, all you see out there is pastels and cheese, pinstripe, spiders, very generic stuff that the Bells work with originally. There's been no, I haven't even seen Axanthic. Well, I say Axanthic Strangers. Never, I lied. I hatched Axanthic Strangers this year, but I haven't seen them hatch before. Basically, this year, so there hasn't been a lot of stuff done with that. Axanthic DG Stranger will be amazing. You're adding these dark genes into it. You know, even Monsoon or whatever, it's going to be really nice. I saw someone commented about Zebra. If you're going to work Zebra down the road and you're only going to do the same few things, everything on Zebra has been produced that has been pastel, Enchi, hypo, OD, yellow belly. There hasn't really been much else. If you're going to take a Zebra, if you own 2 zebras, breed it to something else. Breed it to a clown. Breed it to a DG. Breed it to a Axanthic. Do something like that. But again, I'm not working the Zebra project heavily. I was partnered with that project, and again, like I mentioned earlier, not all partnerships work out good. So I don't currently work that project heavily, but it's a nice project. Adam did a great job with it originally with a few combos they've done, like the hypos and stuff, and I just think that project still has some room to work if you are able to kind of work outside of those pastel and cheese yellow bellies or whatever, and kind of think outside the box a little bit. But someone did ask about the gorilla gene earlier. I'm just going to spend about 1 minute working to talking about that, because I'm actually pretty excited about that gene. I saw it in person in Tinley. The guys, God, I cannot remember their name to save my life. I hope they're not watching and they're going, wow, man, 15 minutes, and I couldn't remember their name. But beautiful animals, really nice guys. They came over to my table. It's DPR, right? Is it DPR Reptiles? I gotta think about
DPR
that.
Cold Blood.
DPR Cold Blood, maybe that's them. Yes, they had the animals at the show. They came over to me specifically and asked me to come over there and talk to them. So I walked over there 1.5 miles to the other side of the show, right? Looked at these animals, and it's pretty impressive. They brought a blackhead and a GHI combo. In my opinion, is pretty impressive. Some people might look at that and go, okay, cool, another blackback animal. I see a lot of potential in it. I have a very similar project here I'm working on that I showed them the picture, and they're like, it could have came from the same stock. So we're going to stay in good communications with them and see what we produce out of it and see what they produce out of it. I am excited about that project. For anyone getting in, looking at like what projects they should work and stuff like that. Oh, what's a good project that's going to make a lot of money? Don't look at it that way, because I'll be honest, when I went in, I did the exact same thing. I went and asked people, hey, what should I breed? What should I breed? And what happened is they're going to tell me what to breed based on what they like. And my projects ended up being their projects. And that's how I ended up buying a $4,000 desert male that was worth about $200 6 months later, when we found out that they weren't, when desert females were infertile. Again, I did no research. I did, someone just told me, you need to get in on this. This is where the money is. I went and bought one, spent $4,000 and lost my ass. But again, and again, I wasn't passionate about the project to start with. And I still own a desert animal currently. Again, it's a beautiful mutation. It was very flawed that the females just don't lay eggs, but that might not be a bad thing down the road. But if you're looking for a project that you're going to do, look into what you actually like. What type of color palette do you like? What type of recessives do you like? And how much time you're willing to work on this project. When me and Dave talked about the gorilla project, when he sent me the 2 animals, I was telling him this is going to be 5-6 years before we probably see any profit. You know, by the time we breed it out, make sure it's genetic, make a recessive combo, a clown combo, a pied combo, and a DG combo. By the time we do all that, it could be 4 or 5 years before we even sell the first few babies and make any money. You know, so if you're going to look into these projects and look into this as an investment, Look into what you actually enjoy, because you are the one that has to open that tub every day and look at this animal. And it's gonna, and you don't want it to be an animal that I told you to buy, right? Because I love cypress, I love xanthics and stuff. You might hate it. You might hate xanthics because they brown. Again, I'll tell you right now. You take an xanthic single gene at 1,000 grams, it looks fairly normal. It looks like
Right.
a slightly off-colored normal. So you might open that tub every day and go, dang it, Bob talked me into this stupid project, is this brown snake, because you don't have any vision for that project, because it's not your project, it's my project. But if you go and look at some project and you say, I really like that. I have a friend, Christopher Pilgrim. He worked with me here, and he still he runs a lot of shows with me. He only works xanthics. That's all he wanted to do, is work xanthics.
Yeah.
And I remember going to a show with him where he told somebody that, and they told him how stupid it was, because there's no future in black and white snakes. People want color. People want orange, yellows, and all these things. And look at it now. It's gone full circle. Everyone wants xanthic. Xanthic clowns cost way more than clown pies. You know, any banana clowns, whatever. Xanthic clowns has held more value than all those genes. You know, and actually, Chris, congratulations, just hatched a leopard fire yellow belly xanthic clown. Beautiful animal.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So, and because of Chris, I actually started working Desert Ghost xanthics, because I was like, well, he likes xanthics. I love Desert Ghost. It's got, you know, and it ended up being great, a great project. So,
have you seen any hiccups with the Desert Ghost evolution now, knowing what we know about the genetics on from your angle? I know everybody's got opinions, but you probably have and move more DGs than anybody in the room. So what's your opinion on that, or what are you seeing?
what do we really know about the Desert Ghost thing, right? It was a single research with no peer review. They just came out and they said, hey, by the way, there's A, B, and possibly C. And we're going, okay, if I bred A to B, will I make visual Desert Ghosts? The answer is yes. If I bred A to A, I'll still make Desert Ghosts. If I bred visual to an het A, you still make Desert Ghosts. So at the end of the day, what really changed in the Desert Ghosts?
And I don't know that answer. Was there a sliver of anything what was the part where people were where they had found? Is there one combination where there's not the visual coming out? Is what is it was
out of my, let me see how many we hatched. 300-400 clutches of Desert Ghost I've hatched over the years. Out of all the bells have probably hatched thousands of clutches. Will Morose has hatched hundreds of clutches. I have asked every single one of them, have you ever bred a visual Desert Ghost to another visual Desert Ghost and made a normal? The answer is no. It has literally never happened. And if someone tells me that it did happen, they probably messed up the pairing. They might have been
gotcha. Yeah, okay.
They threw the wrong male in there. And then there'll be people going, oh, well, it's got to be true because I bred 2 het Desert Ghosts together and I didn't make any visuals. And I was like, oh, I've done that with clowns, pies, hypos, everything else.
It happens.
I think what happened was that Ben found an anomaly, something strange about the gene, which of course could happen. And it's very hard to explain. And he's trying to explain it in his very scientist terms. And we're just taking it off and running with it. Because a lot of us have bred a visual to a het and not made any visuals. We bred a visual to a het and made 100% visuals, which happens in every type of recessive. But Ben is, every time I talk to him, he's like way too smart for me to understand anyway. So it's kind of hard for me to kind of put the pieces together.
Which is pretty smart because you're pretty smart.
Like, but he's a biologist smart.
Yeah,
I've bred 1,000 clutches of ball python smart. You know, I've done, you know, so he's trying to explain to me how the spikes work and all of that. In my opinion, yes, there is something different from Desert Ghost to the other recessive. It's totally different. There could be a third gene involved. You know, breeding a homozygous or one that is het both A and B, Desert Ghost, to another animal that's het A and B will probably result in more visual offspring. However, breeding an A and B to an A, you're still going to make visuals. So I don't think people should go out there and change all of their pairings just because their male is only het A or because their female is only het A. You shouldn't have to go in and change your whole pairing because you're still going to produce visuals. It's just down to odds. And if it is true that you're using a double het or a het AB to another het AB, you'll produce more visuals, then that's great. Now we just figure out something, a new way, a new tool to increase your odds. But I have never had a situation where I bred 2 visuals and made non-visuals.
Gotcha. Has it affected? And I mean, everything in the market has been affected by the market, but have you seen a disproportionate effect on DGs?
Everything's been affected. I feel like DGs are going to get affected the most, actually, in my opinion. Then the reason for that is because of the price increase in 2020, 21, and 22. So if you'll look at prices in 2019, you can get DG combos $500-600. Then the price went to $1,500 all of a sudden, right? Your DG combos went to $1,500, $1,800, $2,000. I saw a single gene DG sell for $1,200 during COVID. Again, I am partially at fault because during 2020, that was my first few years producing DGs. I was so proud of them. I priced them super high. I had a lot of inventory coming in from the Bells. Prices were super high. I bought everything in 19 from Jeremy Smith and the Bells, and I was just now starting to produce. I was so proud of it. We priced it super high. Justin was bumping his prices. Miguel was bumping his prices. DG was the main gene during COVID that went 3-4 times retail.
Right. Okay. So it had the highest peak.
It's going to have the highest drop.
Okay.
It'll have the biggest drop out of all the genes, in my opinion. Again, I'm not telling people not to buy DGs because I have, I hatch 100 clutches of DGs a year. I don't want people to not buy it. But I want people to get into it responsibly and look through and get a good deal and understand that whatever you paid for the gene, again, this is the perfect time to buy. The price has already dropped. But to look in and go, okay, if I'm going to buy it at $2,000, expect that price to be $1,800 or $1,500 in a year or 2 years. And that was the big problem. The industry is going through now is some of the people that went in during COVID are not familiar with the industry. They paid $5,000 for a snake, and they can't understand why the snake is now only worth $2,500. Well, it's because I also produced 10 more of those snakes by now. It's been 2 years, and your snake should have already been producing. And I tell people all the time, when you buy a male investment animal, the only way you lose money is if that male doesn't breed. Okay, let's say you buy a snake for $10,000 today. You pay $10,000 for a snake today. By next year, if you can get him to breed at a 1-year-old, which most of my males breed at 1-year-old, if your $10,000 snake can produce babies at 1-year-old and he only sires 2 clutches, okay, let's say he's a single gene. Let's talk about strangers. Let's say I pay $10,000 for a stranger. By next year, he should produce 14 eggs on average, right? 14 eggs, which means you would produce 7 strangers. Even if the price went from $10,000 to $5,000, you produce 7 of them. You still made 3.5 times return on that animal. You don't lose money as long as the animal breeds. And again, 2 clutches is very, very below average for a breeding male. You can produce 3, 4, 5 clutches. So when you're buying an investment quality male, and I get an investment quality male, you should not lose money as long as you can get that animal to breed. It's always the males where people can't get them to eat, can't get them to breed, and stuff like that. And you're 3 years in before you produce anything is where you're going to start losing value as the years go on. But if you're getting an investment quality animal, as long as you get eggs out of it, you will make your money back.
Sorry, let me go to your background for a minute. At New York Life, were you on the, I know you said you're on the financial end. Was that on the sales analysis of the finances or the investment of what you did with the investor's money side of the finances?
I would do. I went and I'll do 401k rollovers. I'll do life insurance. I did annuities, all of that. I didn't invest your money for you.
I got you. But I guess what I was getting at is, do you watch the market and do you equate what you do now with prior market experience, or were you analyzing profit, P&L statements?
It's hard to equate the ball python market to the general market.
Okay.
Or to any other business, if you will, because for me to explain to any other friend that I can buy an animal and get 10 times return in 12 months or in because I've bought animals before where I've made 10, 20 times return in a year. My first big investment when I first went full time, I bought a Desert Ghost pied male for $10,000. That was in 2017. I got him breeding in 2018. And I made $50,000 off of him the first year, and I made $250,000 off of him the second year. when he was a seasoned breeder. So to explain to somebody, I spent $10,000 and I made $300,000 in 2 years off of it. In any industry, that would be ridiculous. That would be
probably pisses people off, right?
They're like, wait, you bought a snake, you threw it on a bunch of other snakes, and you made $300,000.
There we go. Yeah.
Well, when you're buying in these $10,000 investments, you need to have a plan, right? I didn't just go buy a Desert Ghost Pied and say, well, hopefully something happens. I bought a Desert Ghost Pied knowing hets are going to sell for $2,500 for females and about $2,000 for males. I had a fleet of pied females. I had pieds, NG pieds, all this stuff. And I was like, that one male, as long as he breeds 2 girls, I should have all pied het Desert Ghosts selling at $2,500 each. I was lucky. Well, he got to about 700-800 grams within the year. I bred him to 3. I made 3 clutches the first year, and second year we did 12 clutches from him.
Wow.
He was a big male. I bred him to everything. Again, I spent $10,000 on this animal. So I already had a plan. Even though I was only making hets, I knew what the hets were going to sell for ahead of time. So when you're buying these $5,000-$10,000 animals, make sure you have a 6-month, 1 year, 2 year plan for that animal. You don't want to just be $5,000 deep with no females to breed it to. You know.
No. Do you to SC's question? Would you say that you are a breeder's breeder, or do you still have a pet based clientele as well? Like, I guess. Maybe I might ask, what do you do with the misses? What do you do with the ones that aren't the visuals that you're aiming to hit?
I think essentially the goal for everybody is to become a breeder's breeder, right? The best compliment for a breeder is to have another great breeder buy an animal from you. You know, to have someone of higher, someone you've been looking up to for years come to your table and buy an animal for you is a huge compliment. That, I guess, that makes you a breeder's breeder. For me, I feel like I breed for everybody. I'll do clutches for one of my specialties. I breed high-end bananas, and people don't understand what high-end bananas mean. I make pretty looking bananas.
Say, talk to me. I love it. That's my thing. Yeah, I love it, man.
And I had a banana combo at the show for $850, and my buddy Carlos comes over and goes, "Who the hell's gonna pay you $800 for a freaking banana? You know, like bananas are $300." And I said, "Carlos, this is a gourmet type banana. Okay, this is not your regular plantains. Okay, this is top tier banana. Okay." And someone came up and paid me $800 for this banana. It's because I've figured out which genes in banana makes the brightest, most beautiful banana combos. You know, and we figured that out, and we kind of break it down. Which genes add value to bananas, and I will make an $800 banana every day. I don't mind it. I love the way they look. It sells well. It's an amazing pet. People will have a good time raising this animal. It's going to be a great looking pet. And I don't mind breeding pets because even essentially that's what we do. This is what we do as an industry. We produce pets. Yes, we charge $5,000 for some animal because of their breeding potential, but at the end of the day, it's still an animal, still a pet. And I will produce specific clutches that I know are going to be pet grade animal. They'll be $500, $800 animal and high end pets. And then we'll miss on the odds and we'll make a $200, $300 animal. And I will get rid of them at shows. I do very well at shows. My guys are very good at selling animals. One of my employees, Aaron, has a pair of shorty shorts. He puts them things on and he's selling $300 to $500 animals every day of the week.
You put them on too.
I do. I put the shorty shorts on, and once you walk out to the front side of the table and you take an animal out, you're bagging it up. You got
your fanny pack, you got your neon shorts, and your 2 lanyards doubled up there. I think Chris will attest to it. I sold more bananas at Tinley than anything else. And
yeah, so it just moves. So sometimes I honestly look down on clowns some because of this. If you put a clown next to a normal, it's still cool, right? It's still a clown. You put a banana next to a normal, anyone's grandma would be like, that's the cooler animal. It's a grandma test.
Yeah.
Right? So you put 2 animals next to each other, and that's how I price things. That's how I price pets. When I price things that are no longer breeder quality, in my opinion, breeder investment side, like a pastel clown. A pastel clown is no longer a breeder investment animal, right? No one in these chats should be using a pastel clown male. So now that's a pet. So how do you price a pastel clown male? Well, you put that pastel clown male next to a single gene banana. Does it look cooler than a single gene banana? In my opinion, it doesn't. And you can ask 100 different people that don't know anything about snakes, they will still pick the banana. So you price it below a banana, single gene banana, which I sell for $200. So it's just 100% based on looks once it comes down to the pet grade level. And the some people might not like my pricing system because I might have a 4 gene animal that in my opinion doesn't look that great, and I might price it way cheaper than what you would price it for because you see potential breeding or whatever. I'm going to price it based on what's going to move and at the pet level, so
I think it's gold from learning and an information standpoint. Guys, we got maybe about 10 minutes. I promised I wouldn't take up too much of Bob's time, and we'll be at 90 minutes already in another 10. So if you have any last minute questions, pop them up there. We'll jump to them. Bob, what was I think you said that you were buying Axanthic females with dominant genes that maybe you didn't have an Axanthic female version of. What else are you buying these days? Anything else exciting to you, or what was the last animal that you bought? If you could tell us, I know some projects are might be a little.
No, there's no, again, like I told you earlier, there's not really many secrets in the industry. Or I don't keep many secrets in the industry. The main reason for that is when I was first starting, people kept a lot of secrets back then. Again, I started in 2007 when I bought my first investment quality animal. I bought a pastel male in 2007 for $500. And in 2007, I had just graduated high school. So that's like all my money, right? That's all of my money went to buying this pastel male. And people didn't tell me what I needed to do. The very next year, I bought a pewter male. That's not very smart. I bought a pastel male, then a pewter male. That's not smart at all. No one told me not to do that. Then the very next year, I bought a lesser male. So I got 3 males breeding to a bunch of normal females. No one told me to invest correctly or anything like that. No one even taught me how to build an incubator. The only person that was responsive back then to me was Albie Scholl. Anytime I messaged Albie, he was like, boom, he was on it. He was teaching me how to do all this stuff. And I actually have Albie come to my house every year for his birthday. It's been really cool. But cool. Yeah, but what was your original question again? Now they're just.
What have you been buying?
Yeah, what I'm buying. Yeah, there's no secrets. The last animal I purchased was I didn't purchase. I did a trade. I have an Enchi. One of my Patreon members actually, Nixon. I have an Enchi double het Desert Ghost Sunset female breeder coming in.
Oh, is that one of Brandon's?
Yep.
Yeah. Nice. Brandon should brag about that if he's moving snakes to Bob.
What about a really nice project animal? I'm actually really excited about it.
And Brandon's an awesome guy. He's been a huge asset for me and just a good sounding board and hell, good for breakfast at Daytona too. That was excellent. Okay, let's take it home on this one. Everybody's got it on their mind. So are you involved with the mimic gene? And whether you are or not, what do you think of the mimic gene? Tell us about that.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not involved. Okay, I'm not involved in the project. I have been following the project since he started it. This is Carlos from OTB. He founded the project. And has been producing the animal. I'll be honest with you. When I first saw the project, I was ragging on him so bad about it being a banana. And I told him, I was like, stop sending me pictures of this banana. And as it got to 500, 800, 1,000 grams, he'll send me pictures. And I said, well, it's a different animal. You have to be sending me a picture of a different animal, right? Because if you see the mimic in person, it's a banana when it hatches.
Yep.
At 500 grams, it looks like an ultra male. And then as an adult, it looks like an ultra male desert ghost. And I'm like, what's happening to this animal? And he was like, looks like it's copycatting other genes as it grows. So he ended up landing on the name Mimic, which I thought was a great name. And
it is a good name.
I am not involved in the project. I don't own a Mimic or anything like that, but I will be when he releases it. I will be getting a Mimic.
Nice. And any visions for it yet? What do you want? You want to break up the pattern? You want to try and change the colors? You want to get it in recessives? What do you want to do on it?
I told Carlos. So he already did the Mimic Clown. It's beautiful. It's a purple snake. It's a really vibrant purple snake, the Mimic Clown. And I told him he needs to do a Desert Ghost because we already see the clown. It's great. He needs to do a pied. So every project needs to survive the clown pied Axanthic, the recessive test, right?
Right.
If it's stuck in clown and pied, that project's probably not going to go far. Any project that's stuck in clown and pied, you're not going to make any money. I'll just be honest.
Yeah.
With you. And again, I say that because Spot nose originally did not get any traction because the very first spot nose pied was made, and it's an all white snake. Nobody wanted spot nose. It was a $50 gene 15 years ago. Nobody wanted it. It's just a white snake. Then Justin made, it's whoever made the first spot nose clown, and they're like, whoa, we can do something with this. Then Justin made the Batman, and then whoa, it blew up. Red stripe. Nobody wanted red stripe because the very first red stripe pied sucked. I'll be honest. I saw it and it sucked. And I didn't want anything to do with it. I got lucky and I bought 10 red stripe breeder females from Outback for $200 a piece. This was in 2018. It was $200 a piece, and he just wanted to move them because nobody wanted them. Then all of a sudden, Justin makes the freaking Pompeii, and everybody wanted every single red stripe I had and everything single red stripe I produced. So every new gene, and if you're working on a dinker or a new gene or whatever, it has to survive the pied and clown test. And if it sucks in pied, it's okay. It's probably going to be good in clown. If it sucks in clown, it's probably good in pied. I'll be honest. Like OD sucks in clown. Like the first OD clowns I saw were pretty terrible, but the OD pieds were amazing. So OD
amazing,
great
right?
Spot nose sucks in pied, great in clowns. Leopard kind of sucks in pied because it's high white, and it's great in clowns. So most genes are going to do great in one or the other. And then now we have Desert Ghost being the third one. I think you need to do clown pied and Desert Ghost. All new genes should be tested between clown pied and Desert Ghost, in my opinion.
Any thoughts on the furrow gene? I'm seeing that get some traction and some chatter on the airwaves the past couple months.
The furrows in person, I think originally the first person that showed me the furrow and wanted to sell me the furrow was Angelo from Hilton Head Exotics, a good friend of mine, Angelo. And I didn't buy in on it because I had Voodoo I was working on, and it's a very similar look. It's a very granite type gene. For the furrow, in my opinion, first of all, the naming is a little tough. However, they need to do more recessive. I need to see a Desert Ghost furrow and a clown and all that, and in a few combos, in my opinion. But it does have potential. It's a granite type gene, which is right now becoming a problem because they just renamed the nanny. I think I don't even remember what the new name is. It's something. Does anyone know the new name for the nanny?
No, but I know that it's gone. Oh, is it
Carnivore?
Yeah. Goes round and round, right? I can't keep up with all of them. I mean, sometimes I just feel like I have to put on blinders.
They went to a Facebook group and they're like, hey, do we want to rename this thing and just change it to something else? Which in my opinion, should be done with a few other genes. Like Daddy is probably the dumbest name. Special. I hate Special so much. I hate having to say I have a special ball python. Stuff like that. Special, Daddy. What are some bad ones? HRA, Het Red Axanthic. Like I own a visual Het Red Axanthic, VPI Axanthic, and I have to put on there HRA VPI Axanthic. And Het Red Axanthic is such a dumb name. Hidden Gene Woma, like. Way to confuse people even more with Hidden Gene Woma. That's another dumb one. I hope Nerd never catches wind of this, and Kevin doesn't send me something. But yeah, it's a few terrible names out there, and there's been a few great names out there for projects that never panned out. In my opinion, let me see what the Beast never panned out, and then what's the other one that he had? Coffee never panned out. Few genes that didn't pan out, and they're going to be using up, and they're going to use up these names. So unfortunately, we can't reuse those names. So Tiger, Tiger should have been a way better gene than the actual tiger. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah, there's some icons out there. Yeah, like you can't go messing with like a King of the Jungle kind of thing. Hey, Bob, you have been awesome tonight. I appreciate how giving you've always been to the community, to myself, both in person, but also with your knowledge this evening. Where will people see you next? Where are you vending next at?
Actually, my next show is this weekend. We're leaving on Friday. I'll be down in West Palm Beach at the Scales Expo. It is our first time there. It is their first time there. It is a half fish, half reptile show, which I'm kind of excited about. And I'll be honest, I booked the show so I can go herping. I haven't gone herping in Florida in about it's been at least 6 months. So I really wanted to go down there and go herping. And then we have St. Louis NARBC, and then we finish our year with Houston Reptilian Nation, which I'm extremely excited about because they are doing also a half aquatics and half reptile show, and their Facebook ad already has like 12,000 likes and comments on it. It's ridiculous. So that show is going to be huge. Their last show had 18 or 19,000 people. I'm expecting an even bigger turnout this show.
Man, wow! I might have to take a road trip, especially like a road trip out of Minnesota in December. That's where it's at, right?
That's kind of fun, right? Yeah, but I mean, you have to check out one of these Reptilian Nation shows and actually go and attend them. Josh Ecke vended, I want to say Colorado last week. Either
Denver,
Colorado,
I heard it was a good show. What did Josh say?
It was a great show. He was doing the live, and he was sending me videos of hundreds of people in front of his table. It was really good. So, but Houston, I think is going to be really good. It'll be me, Josh, and another congratulations to Christopher and Adeline. They got married last week.
Oh yeah, big time.
They'll be vending with us in Houston.
Cool.
So and Epic Style, Chris from Epic Style will be with us. So a few of us vending together for that show.
Awesome. Well, Bob, I can't wait to cross paths with you again. Thank you so much for your time. I know that there's a ton we didn't get to, but maybe come back sometime, 6 months, a year, or next week, whatever you want. And not joking, it's already booked next week. But Thursday morning, I'll be back with Proper Cup of Joe. Next Tuesday, I'm on with Jersey Guys Balls. And October 30th, Tuesday this year is Halloween. I can't go up against Halloween. So Monday, I can't go up against Halloween, right? Plus, I got an 11-year-old boy. We got to go scare some kids, you know?
Yeah.
That Monday night, special Monday night episode, Steven from Leviathan Snakes and Chris Eaton, the fat man himself, will be the guests that night on Proper Royals. So join us for those upcoming shows. Bob, thanks so much. I appreciate everything. You mind hanging in the green room for just a second, man?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Thank you all very much. See you next time. I appreciate you all. Cheers, everybody.